Welcome back to Narrations. Some love stories begin with a meeting. This one begins with a voice, heard in the middle of the night, by people who weren't looking for anything at all. This is Sleepless in Seattle. Seattle is quiet in the early hours of the morning. The water is still. The sky hangs low and gray, as if the city itself is holding its breath. Sam Baldwin stands near the shoreline with his young son Jonah, both of them bundled up against the cold. They're saying goodbye. Not just to a person, but to the life they had before. Maggie is gone. Jonah doesn't fully understand what death means, only that his mother isn't coming back and his father looks different now, older somehow, even when he smiles. Sam tries to stay composed, tries to be strong, but grief sits heavy in his chest, making every breath feel deliberate. After the funeral, time moves forward whether Sam wants it to or not. Months later, Sam and Jonah are living in Seattle, in a house overlooking the water. It's beautiful, the kind of place people dream of. But beauty doesn't fix absence. Maggie's presence still lingers in small, ordinary ways. The way Sam reaches for a second mug of coffee out of habit. The way Jonah pauses before telling a story that used to end with, "Mom said." Sam works. He cooks. He listens. He shows up. But at night, when the house settles into silence, he lies awake, staring at the ceiling, replaying memories he can't stop himself from touching. He doesn't talk about it much. He doesn't know how to explain the feeling of missing someone in moments when nothing special is happening. Jonah notices everything. He notices how his dad smiles less easily. How he sometimes stares out at the water without saying a word. Jonah misses his mom openly, asking questions, sharing memories. Sam answers gently, but always carefully, as if he's afraid one wrong word might break something fragile inside them both. One night, Jonah can't sleep. The house is quiet. Too quiet. He flips through radio stations until he lands on a late-night call-in show. The host's voice is warm, patient, the kind of voice that sounds like it has time for whatever you're carrying. Without fully understanding why, Jonah calls. When his small voice comes through the radio, the host listens closely as Jonah talks about his dad. He says his dad is sad. That his mom died. That he wants his dad to be happy again. He doesn't ask for much, just help. The host gently suggests Jonah let his dad talk. Sam resists. He doesn't want to open himself up to strangers. He doesn't want sympathy. He doesn't want to say things out loud that he barely understands himself. But Jonah looks at him with such quiet hope that Sam takes the phone. When Sam speaks, his voice is steady, but thin, like it could crack if pushed too hard. He talks about Maggie. About how she made life feel easy. About how loving her changed him in ways he didn't realize until she was gone. He admits he doesn't know how to move forward without feeling like he's betraying her memory. There's a long pause after he finishes. Then the host thanks him, not dramatically, not sentimentally, just sincerely. Across the country, people listen. Some stop folding laundry. Some pull over on the side of the road. Some lie awake in the dark, recognizing pieces of themselves in a stranger's honesty. In Baltimore, Annie Reed hears Sam's voice while sitting on the floor with her fiancé, Walter, wrapping Christmas presents. She freezes mid-motion, her hands stilling as if the room has suddenly gone quiet. She listens. Annie isn't unhappy. Her life is orderly, predictable, safe. Walter is kind, dependable, affectionate. He loves her openly. He wants to marry her. On paper, everything makes sense. And yet, something in Sam's voice unsettles her. Later, Annie tells her best friend Becky about the call. She laughs nervously, embarrassed by how much it affected her. Becky listens carefully, recognizing that Annie isn't talking about the man, she's talking about the feeling he stirred. Back in Seattle, letters begin arriving. Dozens at first. Then hundreds. Jonah reads them eagerly, convinced that somewhere in those envelopes is the woman who will make things better. Sam is overwhelmed. Uncomfortable. He doesn't know how to respond to strangers offering love, advice, sympathy. One letter stands out to Jonah. Annie's. She writes honestly, not dramatically. About believing in love, about not wanting to settle, about feeling like something is missing even when life looks complete. Jonah reads it over and over, convinced she understands something important. Annie, meanwhile, can't stop thinking about Sam. She watches an affair to remember one evening, alone, tears slipping down her face. The movie reminds her of the kind of love she believed in growing up, the kind that feels faded, undeniable, bigger than convenience. She begins to question her own life. Is safety enough? Is comfort the same as happiness? In Seattle, Sam tries dating again, encouraged by Jonah. The dates feel awkward, distant. He's polite, kind, but not present. Jonah watches his dad come home each time, disappointed, knowing this isn't it. So Jonah makes a decision. He writes to Annie himself. He invites her to meet Sam at the top of the Empire State Building on Valentine's Day. The place Annie believes in because of the movie she loves so much. When Annie receives the letter, her heart races. It feels impossible. Absurd. And yet, she can't throw it away. She flies to Seattle, telling herself it's just curiosity. She watches Sam from afar. Sees him with Jonah. Laughing softly. Being patient. Being real. She doesn't approach him. She doesn't need to. She knows. She returns home and ends her engagement with Walter, painfully, honestly. Because she can no longer pretend. When Sam finally learns about Annie's letter, he reads it slowly. Thoughtfully. Something opens inside him. And when Jonah runs away to New York, determined to make fate happen, Sam doesn't hesitate. He follows. Valentine's Day arrives wrapped in noise. New York City is alive with movement, couples holding hands, vendors selling flowers, taxis honking impatiently, people rushing toward plans they're excited about. Everywhere Annie looks, there are reminders of what this day is supposed to mean. She feels out of place. Annie stands across the street from the Empire State Building, looking up at it, her breath visible in the cold air. She presses her hands into her coat pockets, grounding herself. She tells herself she can still turn around. No one would know. No one would judge her. But she's already here. She steps inside. The lobby feels ordinary. Tourists milling about, people checking phones, couples laughing softly. Annie joins the line for the elevator, heart pounding in a way she hasn't felt in years. She watches the numbers climb as the elevator ascends, each floor making her more aware of what she's risking. At the top, the observation deck opens up into something calm and quiet. The city stretches endlessly below, beautiful and distant. The air is cold but still. Annie steps forward slowly, scanning faces without wanting to look like she's searching for anyone in particular. She waits. At first, it feels almost peaceful. She tells herself this is enough. That showing up took courage, and that's something she can carry with her no matter what happens next. She imagines telling Becky about this later, laughing at herself gently. Minutes pass. More people arrive. Couples stand close together. Someone laughs nearby. Annie checks her watch discreetly, then scolds herself for doing it. She thinks of Sam's voice. The calm honesty. The restraint. The way he spoke about love without trying to impress anyone. She wonders what he's like in person. Whether he'd even recognize her if he saw her. She wonders if she imagined the connection entirely. Back in Seattle, panic is loud and immediate. Sam realizes Jonah is gone, and fear takes over before logic can catch up. Airports, airplanes, strangers, his mind races through every possible outcome. When he finally finds Jonah at the airport, sitting alone but resolute, Sam's knees nearly give out with relief. He pulls Jonah into a tight embrace, anger and fear dissolving into something softer. Jonah explains himself again. How Annie will be there. How this is where everything comes together, how he knows it in his bones. Sam listens differently now. Not because he suddenly believes in fate, but because he believes in his son. They board the plane together. Sam stares out the window during the flight, thoughts drifting. He thinks about Maggie. About how she used to believe in signs and stories. About how he dismissed those things once, and how now, somehow, he's chasing one. Back on the observation deck, Annie's resolve begins to weaken. She's waited longer than she planned. Long enough for hope to thin into something fragile. She tells herself she can't stand here forever, holding on to an idea that might never arrive. She takes one last look around. Nothing. Annie exhales slowly. She feels foolish, not devastated, just quietly disappointed. But beneath that disappointment is something steadier, pride. She showed up. She listened to herself for once. She turns to leave. Moments later, Sam and Jonah step onto the observation deck. Jonah runs ahead instinctively, scanning faces eagerly. Sam follows more slowly, heart heavy but open. He isn't sure what he expects to find, only that he's glad he came. They reach the top. It's beautiful. And empty. Jonah's excitement collapses into heartbreak. His belief, so strong, so certain, cracks. Sam kneels beside him, placing a steady hand on his shoulder, reassuring him gently that it's okay, that sometimes things don't happen the way we hope. Then Jonah sees it. A bag. Left behind near the railing. He picks it up and sees the name inside. His certainty returns instantly. Without waiting, he runs, weaving through people, calling out, his voice urgent and hopeful. Annie is already descending the stairs when she hears her name. She turns, startled, confused, and then she sees Jonah running toward her. Behind him, Sam. For a moment, everything slows. Sam stops a few steps away, unsure what to say. Annie feels an unexpected calm settle over her. There's no rush of adrenaline, no dramatic swell, just recognition. Like something long unfinished has finally reached its pause. They speak quietly. About Jonah. About almost missing each other. About how strange this all is. Sam apologizes for being late. Annie smiles softly and says she almost left sooner. Neither of them sounds upset, just relieved. Jonah watches them carefully, satisfied. Later, time moves forward, gently. Sam and Annie spend time together without expectations. Conversations unfold naturally. They walk, talk, listen. There's no urgency to define anything. They let it grow the way it wants to. Months later, Seattle looks different. Sam and Annie walk along the shoreline together, Jonah racing ahead, laughter echoing in the open air. Annie feels lighter. Sam feels present. Love didn't arrive suddenly or dramatically. It arrived because they trusted something they couldn't explain. Sleepless in Seattle is about hope, the quiet kind. The kind that asks you to listen, to wait, and to believe that sometimes, love begins long before two people ever meet. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this narration, please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next story.